Hey everyone, thanks for joining today's class. Today we're going to be working on some sun salutations. We'll be starting slow and starting to build some heat and kind of get a bit breathy. We'll be moving with intention. So at any point you need to slow down, please do that. Do whatever feels safe in your body, what feels comfortable in your body. So let's go ahead and find a comfortable seat. We can close our eyes, or maybe we lower our gaze, resting our palms down on our knees, beginning to ground into the practice. Inhaling and rolling our shoulders up and back, keeping the muscles of the face relaxed if they aren't already, unclenching our jaw, dropping the tongue from the top of our mouth, and maybe letting the corners of our mouth come upward a bit, a small smile. Continuing to inhale deeply through the nose, exhale through the nose or the mouth. On each inhale, filling up deeply into our lungs, expanding the belly, and exhaling everything out. And let's take 2 more breaths. And on the next one, go ahead and flutter your eyes open. And we'll go ahead and spin around into a tabletop, our hands and knees. Hands underneath our shoulders, knees underneath our hips. And we'll begin to do some cat-cow. So inhale, gaze forward, drop the belly. Exhale, round the spine, tuck the tailbone, and you can drop your head. Cat pose. And let's go ahead and just flow this a bit. Moving between cat and cow, pressing the mat away in cat, arching through the spine. And come to stillness. We'll start to move the left shoulder towards the left hip and gaze towards our left toes. Inhale to center. Exhale, right side. Right shoulder towards right hip. Gazing towards the right toes, getting a nice side body stretch. And we can just flow this a few times. Continuing to press evenly into our palms, into our pads of our fingers. Pressing into the tops of our feet. And come to stillness. We'll sink our hips back towards our feet, stretching our arms out long. Child pose will be here just for a moment. And begin to shift your body forward, dropping your hips towards the mat, opening your chest out towards the sky, leaning back. And begin to sink your hips back, child pose. And inhale, drop your hips forward, open your chest, drop your shoulders back, gaze is up. Exhale, child's pose. We'll move through this one more time. Inhale, drop the hips, chest forward, gaze up. And exhale, child's pose. And let's meet in a tabletop. Tuck your toes, press your hips up, bring your chest towards your thighs. Gaze can be towards your toes, towards your thighs. Dropping those shoulders away from the ears, pressing into the hands, paddling out the feet, bending deeply into the opposite knee to really pedal out those feet. And come to stillness. Inhale, begin to slowly, as slow as you can, walk towards the top of the mat, in between your hands, meeting in a forward fold, letting yourself hang heavy. Maybe your hands rest on the mat. Maybe you have a block they can rest on. But just letting your head hang heavy. You can take a rag doll. On your next inhale, meet me in a halfway lift. Flat back, resting your hands on your thighs or your shins. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand all the way up. Arms overhead. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, we're going to plant our hands, step your feet back into a plank pose, and lower yourself all the way to the mat, slowly with control. Drop the tops of your feet, and we're going to press up for a cobra. Exhale, and press yourself back to a downward facing dog. 3 rounds of breath. You can pedal it out if you need to. Take whatever movement you need. On your next inhale, step or hop to the top of your mat, meeting in a halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand tall, arms up, gaze toward your fingertips, slight back bend. Exhale, hands to your heart. All right, we'll just speed it up a little bit more on this round. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, chaturanga, plank pose. Exhale, lower to the mat. Inhale for your cobra. Exhale, push yourself back to a downward facing dog. 3 rounds of breath here. Your next inhale, step to the top of the mat. Meet me in a halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand all the way up. Gaze up, slight back bend. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale to your halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back, lower yourself all the way down. Press up for your cobra. And exhale, press back to downward facing dog. Notice any areas of tension as we start to move a little bit faster. Make sure you drop those shoulders away from your ears. On your next inhale, step or hop to the top of the mat. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand all the way up, gaze up, slight back bend, and hands to your heart. All right, we're going to add on a little bit on this one. You can either join me in those add-ons or you can stay with what you've been doing. So inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands. And you can either lower all the way to the mat or you can lower part way. Drop your feet, upward facing dog. You can have your legs on the mat or up. And then exhale, press back, downward facing dog. Inhale, step to the top of the mat, meet me in a halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand all the way up, gaze up, slight back bend. Exhale, hands to your heart. All right, we're going to do that again. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back. Lower all the way down or part way. Lift your chest. And exhale back to downward facing dog. On your next inhale, step to the top of the mat. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand all the way up. Gaze up, slight back bend. And hands to your heart. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale, fold. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga. Lower down, halfway or part way, or all the way, and press up for your upward dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. On your next inhale, step to the top of the mat. Meet halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand all the way up. Slight back bend. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, hands overhead. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step your feet back. Chaturanga. And press back for downward facing dog. Inhale, step to the top of the mat, meet in a halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And stand all the way up. Slight back bend. Exhale, hands to your heart. All right, we're going to do one more round before we start to cool down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands. Step back. Lower all the way down or halfway. Press yourself up. Cobra, upward facing dog. And back to downward facing dog. Begin to come back to your breath. Maybe you're feeling a bit breathy. That's okay. Warming the body up, getting ready for a day, or maybe we just want to feel some blood moving. And meet me in a tabletop. We'll go ahead and side saddle and move to our seats. We're going to place our hands back behind us, fingers facing towards the top of the mat. And we're going to go into a reverse tabletop. Inhale, lift the hips, toes facing forward, knees facing forward. And it could feel good on your neck to be looking forward, or maybe your gaze is back. Exhale, release to the mat, and wrap your arms around the front of your shins and drop your head. Little counter pose here. We're going to do this 2 more times. All right, let's go ahead and set up. Placing your hands on the mat behind you, fingers facing forward. And inhale, press your hips up. Continuing to breathe. Taking whatever position feels best on your neck. For me, that's gazing forward towards the top of the mat. Press your feet into the mat and release your seat back to the mat. Wrap your arms around the fronts of your shins. Drop your head. A little counter pose. And letting your shoulders take a break, relaxing on your arms. All right, let's sit up for the last time. Pressing all the pads of your fingers into the mat, all 4 corners of both feet. Inhale, press your hips up. Being a nice strong core here, strong upper body, holding yourself up. Keeping the knees and the toes forward. Continuing to breathe. And release yourself to the mat. Taking that counter pose, wrapping our arms around our legs, dropping our head. Starting to cool down now. All right, we'll go ahead and drop our hands behind us again, but this time we're going to send both knees over to the right, and then we'll switch to the left. So just windshield wipering our legs. Maybe you'd like to do some movement, or perhaps you just stay in one position at a time. Whatever feels best for you, either stillness or movement. All right, come back to center. Extend your legs long. Have a nice flat back. Inhale your arms overhead. Begin to hinge at your hips. You might have to bend your knees a bit. Reaching towards your toes. Maybe you hold onto your shins. Maybe you get all the way to your toes. And then rounding the spine, let yourself go into a seated forward fold. Letting your head hang heavy. Walk your hands back off your leg. Go ahead and come all the way down to the mat on your back. We're going to do some bridge poses. Tuck your shoulders underneath your back. Hands long by your side, palms down. Feet hip width apart, toes forward. To keep our knees equidistant. And let's go ahead and press our backs into the mat, tilting our pelvis. And then press our hips away from the mat into a bridge pose. Continuing to breathe. Pressing our knees towards the front of the mat. Pressing our hands into the mat. And slowly release our back. Down, hips down. Inhale. Tilt the pelvis forward, release the back from the mat. Let's go ahead and press that back into the mat and lift our hips for our bridge pose. Go ahead and lift the toes off the mat, keeping our knees the same distance. Drop your toes to the mat and slowly bring your vertebrae and your hips back down, releasing your lower back from the mat. And we'll do this one more time. Press your lower back into the mat and begin to lift your hips. And slowly lower all the way down. Hug your knees into your chest. Or maybe you need to bring them out wider to give yourself some room, whatever feels better for you. And then you can place your hands on your knees and draw some circles on the ceiling or the sky, moving one way, then the other. Giving your back a little massage. And come to stillness. Put your arms in a T and drop your knees to the right side. You could gaze over to your left hand if that feels good. Maybe you take some cactus arms. And bring one leg and then the other towards the center. Squeeze the knees into the chest. And then release them to the left side of your body. If you did from the other side, maybe you gaze towards the opposite hand. Gazing towards the right hand, with our knees on the left. Making sure our shoulder blades are pressed in the mat. If they're not, you can always place a block underneath your knees to give yourself more space. And then bringing one leg and then the next up into the center. I'm going to take one last big squeeze before sending our legs long, setting up for our final pose, Shavasana, tucking our shoulder blades underneath our back, palms facing up. Taking these last few moments for ourselves before we start the day. Noticing if any areas of tension have built back up. Maybe we're clenching our jaw or furrowing our brow. Just smoothing those areas out. Relaxing our forehead and our cheeks. Unclenching the jaw. Letting our mouth slightly part. And if you're ready to, let's begin to take some small movements in our toes and our fingers. Maybe our wrists and our ankles can rotate. Perhaps you'd like to reach long for a nice stretch. Bringing your knees up And then rolling to one side. Taking one big inhale. Exhale out and send your top leg long. Pressing up into a seated position, whatever feels comfortable. Keeping your eyes closed or your gaze lowered. Once you're there, inhale our arms overhead. Exhale, hands to your heart. Thank you so much for joining me in today's practice. I hope you feel both strong and excited for your day. Namaste.